Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In this session today, we are going to make some ATCs. Those are artist trading cards. In essence, it is a journal card. What artists do, there are some serious artists out there, especially mixed media artists, that will be actually trading these cards. Now, it's an international standard of 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and normally at the back of the little card they will put their own details like mediums used, date that it was created, and so forth. These cards are then traded amongst other artists, so they might make a set of 4, 6, 8 or 12 even. Sometimes might be a little bit more exclusive and they only make 1 or 2 of these ATCs, artist trading cards, which they then trade with another artist, and it is in essence a tiny masterpiece in its own right. Now, over time, journal cards have become such a very important part in journaling, and it adds extra journaling space, but it can also have a decorative purpose. Now, today's session is making some journal cards rather than ATCs because it will probably be the same type of theme, and I will use the part of the masterboard that was left after I had decorated the cover for the African safari journal that we are making. Remember, there was a part, and I'll use my hand, that we cut this side off from that brown paper bag that we used to make the masterboard. So what I'm doing is I'm using the thinner part that was on top that I then just sliced up. And my little cards are these. So we have 4 of those. There's still a part of this left. Remember, this part is still there. I'm not going to use that today. So without further ado, let's get started. So for those that maybe do not follow me and did not watch the series on the African Safari Journal, we made a masterboard using a brown paper bag as the base. The printed side was where we had glued down pieces of old book pages, which in this case were dictionary pages, some novels, and in both Afrikaans and English, and I can't even remember what other languages I used, but this was a part of the masterboard. If I turn it over, you can see the brown of the paper bag. Because there are many layers, this is quite thick and sturdy, so it is a nice thickness and can be used basically for anything. So I decided to use the standardized size of the ATCs and just cut part of that down so that we can start making those. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my corner rounder just so that I can trim these ends and round them off before I even start. So that will be the first step. I love using the corner rounders, and I normally turn mine over so that I can see. Even when I use my punches, do I turn it upside down? That way you can look and you can see how far you have to maybe move it to fit it in, or I can't do 2 at a time, it will just be too thick. If it was thinner cardstock, I would have ventured out and actually punch both of them at the same time. This is just too thick, so 1 at a time. And then from there, I think we're going to use some stamps on the background and hopefully get some of the stickers worked off. I want maybe a vintage look. So as I started with this, explaining about the masterboard, I just want to add that I also have added some white gesso, and that's why some of the text is a little bit more muted and other parts are a little bit more clear. If you don't have a masterboard, by all means you can use any cardstock and you can do exactly the same. Just those measurements again for those that want it. It is 2.5 the width, and the height is 3.5 inches. So there we have our artist trading cards. Now the next step, some stamping, and you know that I normally use vintage photo for that, and that is exactly what I will be using at this point too. So I've got some of Tim Holt's sets. I cannot tell you off by heart which one is this, but it is one of them. Tim Holtz Mixed Media, so the number will be THMM, and I will give you the number, link it below in the description box. And I will be using some of this, maybe some from the Papillon set, and whatever else that has got a vintage feel. So I'm going to start with this and get some background stamping going. So definitely vintage photo, and I think I will be using this little text stamp because there already text on here. So we ink the stamp, so we bring the stamp back to the stamp itself, dab, 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 so that we can get the ink on there. And now we don't want a clear stamp, so I will be doing a little bit there, just some background to that one maybe, and then I'm going to take it off the block, stamp back to the stamp again. And I prefer to use this method when I do not want a definite stamped image. So I'm just going to lift it up and have parts of this on there. We don't want a definite thing, and I like this white at the bottom, so I'm just going to press some there. There's still a bit of ink on top there. So we've got that. And yes, it doesn't matter that you're using the same stamp. You can use parts of it, different color inks, and it will look completely different. Just a bit of that there. Maybe the half a numbers there, and something here, and maybe one there. Not a clear print. I don't want a clear print, so it's just a quick dab to a little bit there. And then on this one, I also want, again, not the inked up stamp again, just a little bit of that ink that might still be there. You can see very, very lightly. And then for this one, just something there, and maybe the one in the middle there. Whatever is left for this one, and there we have it. That is that stamp done. Now we're going to add some more. I've got a few stamp sets here, so let's see. One of these continuously fall off when I turn it over, which is the tiny, I think I want that one. I'll use that too. So, and then we'll get started. I want walnut ink for this one, a little bit darker, a little bit darker. I'm just going to close this ink pad. These are the older stamps, which means the stamp is not like the newer ones at the back. So just make sure your orientation is right when you want to stamp it. I want a bit of that there. Not clear, I don't want it a definite stamped image. This one has got a nice, might be upside down, don't really care. And then for this one, I'll do the side of it. That almost says that Cutoff style, just to give that vintage feel. Now from here, I want to ink the edges, and me by now, I use vintage for that. Yes, I do it at this moment, before I start with the collaging, because once you have things maybe hanging off it, it will be too difficult to do the inking on the edges. And the last one. To me, it just rounds it off truly nicely. So, next step, what are we going to do? We need some images that we are going to add to this, so that we have four. Maybe something that you can include in a journal for future. I like to make some stuff that I give as happy mail, and to show you these things, you do end up having quite a bit. So I like to get rid of them by making other people happy. What are we going to add? I'm thinking some vintage ladies. Those will be stickers, so let's look at those. So I've chosen a few. Cannot make up my mind. These really truly look like vintage stamps, which are just perfect. I truly particularly like that one. I also, let me just see, like this one with a book quite a lot. So let's maybe stick with the same type like thing. A bit of pink, a bit of brown, so that one maybe. And then I also like this one. Now they will disappear almost because some of them are see-through, but we're going to juice it up a bit by adding some faux vintage postage stamps and maybe some lace. So let's see. I think those four, or maybe not. Not completely sure yet. Let's take that one off. I like that one. I really, really like that one. Then, okay, process of elimination. That one is a go-to, so I need that one. Let's put it one side. And let's just see. I like that one too. Okay. Not discarding this one as yet. I kind of like that one. I think I'll stick with that one. Let's look at this one. I don't think the white ones for today. That, or this beigey one. I am truly in two minds about it. let's do that. So sorry ladies, not this time, but the next time. So now we've got the girls, doesn't matter which goes where. So we've got those stickers that we will use, and then I think a bit of lace will just be too adorable. And then we can get to the finer details of adding whatever. Let's see, this is truly too wide, and that one will also be. This is wide, but that's not an issue. We can always change the color of it. Let's see if we've got some other lace that might just be a bit thinner in here. I like that. That's perfect. It's like an lace, and it is cotton already, and it's beige. So that was a quick decision, which is always helpful, because making up my mind is the part that is always taking me the longest. So I don't have fabric tags, so I use Eileen's tacky glue. It is quite a good glue, according to me, and it is normally good enough to actually glue down some of the things that I add to the cards. So let's start without thinking too much. I'm just going to snip it down and start adding lace. So I want these four to look more or less the same, and they will be like a sort of a set. So this is about that wide, so I'm going to just add a thin layer of glue there, just so that we can add this bit of lace at the bottom. Not to say that is the only lace that we will be using. So all of them will have the same elements. And I just want to add a tiny little bit more glue so that this crease that this has got, it will actually stick down and not fold up or turn up the whole time. And then let's put a bit at the bottom, again on this one. Move it up so that we can see the edge of the card peeping through, and just trim that a bit off. I don't want that to stick over. And you will see the glue is seeping through the lace, especially with the ink that is reacting to it. Distress ink is made for that, to react with liquid. I want to close that carte postal, so I will be putting the lace on this side. And you can tell these are really not fabric scissors, right? And there we have lace to all four of them. Now I think this will just be too gorgeous if we add that. And let's get started. We will just put a bit on top. Now it's always an issue to get these backings off. I really truly love these stickers as focal point. So I will do that one with a pink. I've seen some people use a pin to get this off successfully. I don't really have an issue to get it off. And yes, we won't truly see that carte postal, but it will basically show. So there we have that, and this one also have carte postal on the top of the sticker. So we will just finalize those two. Then what works for me is to just bend the bottom corner and kind of push it down and the top one up, so I can get my fingernail in there. Can be any one of the corners. Bottom one down and then push the top one up. I love how the script is shining through Sorry, I'm going to open this in your ears. I'll be as quick as possible. So I've got some bigger postage stamps, stickers actually, and then I've got truly vintage postage stamps here. Those are too big to add. I'm specifically looking for these ones that I made myself. There might be a few, maybe a green one. Let's see, there will be something that we can use. That's some of the truly vintage ones. It doesn't have to just be pink. The pinks that I used are a bit bright. You can see there. This one might be fine. That one is maybe too pink. Maybe something of that color. I think that one will look much better. I just don't like the color of it. So I will be, if I can find my ink blending tool. I had it a while ago when I did that. I'm sure this will work. And I just want to make that color a little bit more vintagey. Ink the edges there, just so that it's not so stark. So let's see if that will work with this very pink one. I like that. It changes the color completely. That is wonderful. So I'm going to add that one there. And then we need another one for here, which will probably be the same. So let's take this pink one, same process, ink the edges, and then just run the ink blending tool across, just to get that discoloration going. And I like that. This green now is not working for me. Maybe a different color. Let's see, there will be some other pink colors. See, that is always the thing with having a choice. I cannot seem to make up my mind and get it over and done with. Now it doesn't have to be straight. It can be added like that. And then let's take this one. I will just ink that one too. Do the same thing. Just run the ink blending tool over it so that it is not so pink, but a more brownish look, that vintage feel to it. Old, discolored. And I like that a lot. Now this one we will put there, and that one maybe there. So those two are sorted. Now we need a little bit for these other two, another one. Maybe a darker red for the one to pick up some of that darker color, which is perfect. This one is perfect. Sorry, my fingers are now changing color because of the ink, as is my fingernails. Not bothering me, it will completely wash off. And then we need one for here as well. And I'm thinking also a darker red color. Already have that one. Well, orange can also work. The minute that we put some brown to it, it will change color. Still showing a bit of orange, though. And I just folded the edge. There we go. I like the look of that already. Going to pop this back in, and there we have that. Now, to add these beautiful stamps, I just want to get the placement of these just right. I think that one should go there, and this one will go there. Just maybe like so. That will be perfect. And this one is fine, that one is fine, but this one I still need to get done. I'm not completely satisfied. I don't want to put it there because then we close that carte postale, which is in its entirety not a problem because I can add another one at the bottom. Let's do that. That I kind of like. So let's get started. This time I used the Aleene's again. I was going to opt for the glue stick, but this will be fine. Not too much glue, just a little bitty to add there. Going to put it there, move it a bit in, not obscuring the women. And then add that one there. We will still round it off nicely. This one goes there. I just want to put a bit of glue underneath this lace here. That will secure that in place. This one that I bent the top corner of, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Up there, and this one. These tiny last bitties are these last two faux postage stamps. If you're interested in making your own faux postage stamps, I have a video that I made not so long ago and I'll show you my steps that I use to make them. Also some labels. I also show you how to make some labels. So now I want to just finish this off with a postage stamp. Let's see if I have something out here. Otherwise, I quickly have to go and I can use this one. I'm actually looking for the lines. Just a second while I rummage through. What I want is these little lines, so the cancellation of it. I'm not going to stamp the whole thing, just a part of it, and I'm using archival ink, black suit, and I'm just going to stamp on there. If there's a bit going through the other, it's fine. That's not a problem. And maybe I should do this side. Again, not the complete stamp. Already it's thick, so it's not a problem. I just want that extra detail. Just me, you don't have to do it. I kind of like that. And we will be adding another stamp just now to that. And the last one, we will do the other side again, because it's this way. Just on top of that. It shows the stamps, however, it is not. No, the stamp set is absolutely magnificent. Really, truly, I love it. But they are kind of a bit big. So I'm going to stick with that set that I showed you earlier from Tim Holtz, the mixed media set. I'm going to just ink this up so I can see the direction of the stamp. And then I'm going to do that. Just a tiny little bit of detail that is rounding it off nicely. There we have that. Now, I try to keep my stamps together as much as I possibly can, but sometimes I get a bit confused as to what goes where, but this one I know is going into that set. So I'm just going to place it back in there to try and keep my set together. Now, one more thing. I am looking for my set with actual postage stamps, which is what I use to make my faux postage stamps with. I think I'm going to take this little stamp and I'm going to reach for a different color ink altogether. So now I'm using archival ink in ground espresso. So before I have been using the black suit. So not just everything in black, we're going to add something there. And you will see that I'm stamping on the lace and it's still perfectly beautiful. Just that extra bit to pull it all together. Don't want to particularly stamp on that, so I might just stamp here at the bottom. So I've got 3 done, the last one here, and again I will be stamping there. Half on the lace, half on the sticker. And then, that is it. Placing that one back where it is supposed to go, which is how I keep tabs on where things are. Like you saw earlier, I can lose things on my desk very easily. Now, I kind of like that look of these 4 ATCs, but I think you will agree with me that the vintage photo is a tiny little bit too light. Now, I'm not going to ink the whole thing. I'm just going to go in here and there and concentrate a little bit in certain places, just to enhance the color a bit. I think that looks a whole lot better. Maybe it's because I want to believe it does. And this one. There we have it. Our 4 little ATCs or journal cards. Enough space at the back to actually journal. It's quite sturdy. Can easily be included in a vintage journal. It can be included in a shabby chic journal. It can at this point be really included in any vintage type journal. Thanks for joining me. Go try this for yourself. Try whatever theme you want to incorporate. It can be birds, butterflies, mushrooms, anything. You do not have to stick with what I have done here today. If, however, you do go try this for yourself, please tag Wawa Crafting on social media. I've got a hashtag on Instagram as well as on my channel on YouTube. If you want to see more content like this, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload new content. And as always, I will really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so either. Thanks for being here if you have already subscribed. See you back soon. Goodbye.